What up, y'all? You're listening to the Gopher Broke podcast. We're jumping into the running back room today. We're going to talk sleepers. We're going to talk breakouts. We're going to talk about who is in this room besides Darius Taylor, because everybody knows that name. We're going to go deep into it all here today. And then we're going to break down the California Golden Bears, a little bit of things to keep a lookout for with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. What up? You're listening to the Gopher Broke podcast. This is your boy Kane, Rob, and Tristyn Spann-Ford here to talk Gophers football with you each and every week, once a week. We're going to start trying to transition these things to Mondays, but we had a holiday on Monday, so we'll drop this one on a Tuesday, and then hopefully we can start to get some Monday shows out here, get ready for the season for both ourselves and for y'all. But we are continuing on with our Gophers room breakdowns. We did quarterbacks last episode, I should say. Now we're going to go to the running backs, and then we're also breaking down on a Gophers opponent each week as well, and we're going to talk about the California Golden Bears. But before we get to it all, Tristyn, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. The weather is shaping up. The kids are healthy. Things are feeling good. Long weekend. I'm not mad at it.
Hey, it's hard to complain when you get an extra day off. Nobody got complaints when you got an extra day off.
It is. Now, talk to me in a few hours after this Timberwolves game, and then that could change. That could change.
Hey, hopefully they can tie it up 2-2. They'll be looking to go 2-2 tonight. Hopefully when you're hearing this, they are 2-2, and you're like, oh, it already happened. Congrats. But let's jump into the gripes. You got any gripes for me this week?
Yeah, actually, speaking of the Timberwolves, that's the only gripe I have. I so emotionally invested in this team to the point where now I had two nightmares after game one. Like it's so bad. I woke up. First of all, it's making me a monster at home. After those first two games, I was a monster. I was ornery. I was angry. Like, I'm too emotionally invested. I had a dream that I checked the score at halftime, and it was like 64-21, and we were down. And then I checked it in the fourth quarter because we were just doing stuff in my dream, and we were losing 124-24. Like, we had only scored 3 points in the whole second half.
Dang.
And then later on in that dream, Coach Finch is at our house watching the game with us, but he's coaching from like an iPad on the couch, and my YouTube TV goes out. Like, and so he's mad at me. He's yelling at me like it's my fault he can't make any subs. And I'm like, Coach, I'm sorry. I don't understand why you're here watching the game anyways. It's just, I'm too emotionally invested. I want us to win so bad. And it's an emotional roller coaster for me.
Yeah,
right now.
You took it to a whole new level, my brother. Like, I am a diehard Celtics fan. I love my Gophers, but I ain't never had nothing like that. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I was just hyping myself before the games. Like, I don't know what it is, but I've never had a basketball dream like that before. But here we are. I'm invested.
Maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's a sign that you are so caught up right now because this is the year. It's gonna happen. And so as long as all the diehards are feeling this way, it's just putting you into the right position to feel good when it all happens. You know, hopefully I'm trying to speak it into existence for you because your boy got to feel it last year and it felt phenomenal. Phenomenal. I'm just saying.
I think I'm just setting myself up to have another Minnesota sports feeling at the end of these playoffs. I'm just gonna feel the same. I'm getting too high.
Oh gosh, I hope not. But we're gonna pivot. We're gonna head to the Gophers talk, and we're gonna kick it off with a Gophers ChatGPT question, like we do each and every episode. One at the end and one in the beginning as well. Now this one got me going. I like this one a lot. So, which past or present Gopher player would make the best late night talk show host?
Oh man, late night talk show.
Yo, I'm in. I already got mine.
Late night talk show. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's Mo. Mo is
Ooh.
goofy, man. He's so funny. Like he just is a goofy dude, and he will talk to anybody, and everybody who talks to him loves him. So that's what I'm gonna go with.
See, Mo comes off as too shy to me, like before you get to like actually sit down and talk with him and get to know him or whatever. But if you just
Hmm.
see him like on the street or like you're like, oh Mo, what's up? Or like a fan signing thing, I feel like he's very mellow, very calm. So I can't get there with you. But someone who is quite the opposite and I think would just absolutely
Oh,
thrive, Dragon Kesich. This
that's
man would go bananas. Like, oh, I wish I could see him host a late night talk show. Give him a week. You give him a whole week of like hosting late night, and I think they'd be begging him to sign on the dotted line. I think they'd be like, forget football, forget all this other stuff. This is what you are meant to do.
I think I literally said when we were talking about the draft and where players should go, I was like, every social media team should just want him on their team because he's just so funny.
Yes, yes, he'd be pounding on his chest, doing gorilla noises. You
Yeah.
know, he would incorporate it into the like hands down. That's my pick, bar none. Like
Yeah,
Dragon
you
Kesich would
crushed that.
destroy that.
That was easy. I can't believe I missed that. That was easy.
Hey, it's okay. You'll get to make up for it in our final question of the day where you can maybe win that one. But we're going to talk about the running back room, the current state of the room right now. So we're going to dive in talking about each and every one of the running backs in here. Of course, the lead back, RB1, Darius Taylor is heading this thing off. I mean, he's an absolute stud. He is one of the best running backs in the conference and the country, and quite possibly the best dual threat running back in FBS, in my opinion. But how do you feel about Darius Taylor heading into the year, and what are your biggest questions with him?
I don't necessarily. I think it's hard to say like, oh, is he going to take that next step? Because I feel like he took that step last year. Like he had a really solid season last year. I think personally, honestly, I think he'll have easily 1,000 yards before the bowl game. Like he'll get there and it'll be easy, especially looking at our schedule. He's going to have a lot of opportunities. I mean, we have what two juggernaut like or not juggernaut, but two very good defenses where like we might struggle, but everywhere else like this is the Big Ten. Like we can run the football. So I think he's going to have a monster season, and I think this will be his last season as a Gopher.
I agree.
Or Hood.
I think it's gonna be his last year as a Gopher. I think he's gonna head to the NFL as long as he stays healthy this year, which I'm gonna speak that into existence. We know it is an odd year, and that is always a little wonky here in Gopher land when it comes to our running back rooms. But this is the year we break the cycle. I think right now my biggest question is, can he stay healthy all year? I mean, last year, if you look at it, he played in 12 games, 12 of the 13. So, like, even though people are like, health, like, yes, he got injured in his first year. Yes, he was dinged up last year, but everybody gets dinged up in the season. Like, if you can get on the field and play, then we can't keep saying, oh, he's dinged up or his health or his health. Like, he played 12 of the 13 games. He wasn't able to go to the first game. If he was, I think we win that game. I think he's easily over 1,000 yards since was only 14 yards away last year. So overall, I'm not going to keep saying health because the dude's figuring it out and he's putting it together. And like, I think that year one was more of just like fluky than last year. We saw 12 out of 13 games. So I'm not stressing on the health too much.
Agree.
Last year, 986 yards rushing, 350 yards receiving, 12 total touchdowns. Now, if he does get to play that first game, I think he's easily over 1,000 yards. When it comes to rushing, I think he could be over 400 yards receiving. That's saying he gets 50 yards receiving. I think that was a possibility, especially because that North
Oh
Carolina
yeah.
defense wasn't great. So, I mean, overall, the dude is nuts. I think he is set up to have a big year, like you said, and I think it will be his last year for that specific reason. But who's the rest of the room? That's the biggest question. Last year we had Marcus Major, he's gone. Last year we had Jared Mangum, who came out in the bowl game and was running people over, and we were like, "Yo, where's he been all year?" Like
Would have
the
loved to give
Gophers.
him some more tickets.
Right. Tristan, I remember you texted me. You were like, "Hey, we're gonna be good next year. We got this dude coming through." I was like, "Nah, that dude
So
is
big.
gone. He is gone. No more eligibility." But we got a few transfers coming in. AJ Turner coming from Marshall, Cam Davis coming from Washington, and then Johan Cardenas coming from Vanderbilt. Any of those names that stand out to you, or what do you like about some of the transfers that are coming in?
I'm super excited about AJ Turner actually. Just looking at his stats, like basing it off of the numbers, like I can't say I watched a ton of Marshall football last year, but I looking at his numbers, like averaging 8.3 yards a carry is very impressive. Is or what I'm showed 864 yards on 104 attempts. Like I that those numbers are very exciting. Like you can't not be excited, especially coming in behind Darius Taylor. The Gophers, that second running back for the Gophers always kind of gets overshadowed, it feels like, but he's always a solid back. Like, when coming in when Darius takes a breather, look at all the guys who've been number two for the last how many years. Like those are solid backs who end up, transferring to go somewhere else and, because they can't get that one spot. So I think he's the clear number two if I'm looking at the room.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's going to win that number two job. I think there could be some competition, and I'll bring that up here in a little bit. But I think, like you said, he had 8.4 yards per carry. He was super efficient with the ball last year. On 100 carries, basically, the dude had almost 1,000 yards. He was like 140 yards off of 1,000 yards and 100 carries. Like he is explosive, he's fast, he gets it. And so if that translates to the Big Ten, which the Gophers have a really good hit rate when it comes to finding transfers that fit their system and work out. So I'm going to trust that they're going to continue on that hit rate. I think he is a dude, and I think he could be the perfect combination with Darius Taylor, because Darius Taylor can be shifty. He has great vision. He can hit the holes. He doesn't always have that huge top end speed, but AJ Turner can come in and bring you that speed and explosiveness, so he can be a 1-2 punch with you, and he doesn't need a ton of carries. So hopefully he can still feel happy with what's happening with this Gophers team and being effective with those fewer carries that he's getting. But then if Darius Taylor goes pro, the job could be all his. It could be basically be like a tryout year for him. Like, hey, go be the two, go be effective, and show us why you could be number one next year. So I'm with you 100% with AJ Turner.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about him. I also noticed something the running back room, and I mean I know it's not uncommon. Every single one of our running backs is all the same size. Like these are all the exact. It's like
PJ's
they
got a
go
type. He's
yeah,
got
they
a type.
literally just break it down that way. Like if they're 6'1", I don't even want to talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, and then yeah, so those other two that we got coming in, Cam Davis from Washington, he's only got 1 year of eligibility left. He's coming off of a torn patellar tendon or patellar tendon rupture in 2023. So last year he bounced back from that, but clearly he wasn't all the way back last year. But it seemed like in the spring he was looking good. He was looking physical. He's more of that bruising short yardage back that I think that Marcus Major type back that we saw last year. I think that's the role that he can probably fill, especially if he is more healthy. So maybe he gets red zone looks. Maybe he gets the third and short, so you don't have Darius Taylor running into a big pile like that. But I think he'll find a role, but I don't think he's a guy that you're relying on, hopefully, uh, because you don't hope there's injuries. And then the last transfer coming in is Johan Cardenas. He didn't really play last year. He redshirt freshman for Vanderbilt. But as a high schooler, he had 1,041 rush yards in his junior year. He had 4,743 rush yards over all of his high school year and 64 touchdowns. But he also had 1,400 receiving yards and 15 touchdowns. So he can kind of
Oh,
do a little bit of both, and that was cool to see. And he scored at least 2 touchdowns in every game in his senior year except for one game. So, I mean, the dude, you can see why there's flashes there. He got a Power 5 offer to the SEC. Now he comes over to the Gophers. I don't think he's a guy who's going to see the field this year that much unless there's that worst case scenario of like two guys go down and you got to find a way. But it's nice to know that you have the talent in the room just in case something were to happen.
yeah, I think actually, I mean, again, there's not a lot of tape on him, but it does say a lot. Like you said, he was a SEC, got a Power 5 offer. Like he's he had to show someone something. So I think it'll be interesting to see what he can do if he sees the field this year. But like you said, might not be this year, but next year.
Yeah, potentially next year. So those are the five guys that if we see our typical Gophers odd year where we're on the fourth string running back, fifth string running back, then those are the five guys to probably know the most. But there are three true freshmen coming. None of them were early enrollees. So they're all coming here in June for the first time over to campus. And that's Xavier Ford, Trey Berry, and Grant Washington. Now, of these three names, like, I'm not going to lie to you, two of them don't get me going. They don't excite me that much. Like, I think they're more so your developmental guys. But I mean, if you looked at recruiting rankings and things like that 5-6 years ago, Mo Ibrahim was not a name that was getting you excited. So you can never count these dudes out, and it just depends on how they hit the ground running, how they put the work in, how they hit the strength and conditioning room. So those two guys for me are Trey Berry. He's from Alabama. He had 2 years in high school where he played a lot. As a junior, he had 1,252 yards and 7 touchdowns. And as a senior, he had 677 yards and 12 touchdowns. So I don't know if he got hurt. I don't know if he was splitting time or what happened there. I didn't dive in too deep on it, but he is a name that I wasn't like super stoked for, especially because he took the offer to the Gophers without actually visiting Minnesota. He got offered after Shane Marshall, who was our running back commit, super quick dude. He decommitted like the day before or the day of signing day and went to Georgia Tech. He was just like, peace out. I'm staying in the South. I'm not coming to Minnesota no more. And then the Gophers like quickly offered Trey Berry, and he was like, yep, I'll do it, because we were the best offer by far on his offer list. So that's why I'm like, I'm not super motivated by it. But if he's got the grind mentality, I'm here for it. Come develop, and hopefully you can find a way. Grant Washington is kind of similar, from Cleveland, Ohio. All of his other offers were G5s or lower. Another guy that I think is a depth and develop type guy, but I'm not sure we see a lot of either one of those two over the next 2 years, especially, but maybe not even 3 years. We'll see what happens with those two. But Tristyn, you're gonna like this guy because half of his last name is his last name is half of your last name. Xavier Ford. Xavier Ford. Now I'm gonna tell you his high school stats. This dude gets me a little excited. I'm not gonna lie to you. He was productive as hell, and I think long term, maybe he could be a future Gopher dude. So his total rushing yards in high school, 8,431 rush yards. He had 378 receiving yards. He had 116 rushing touchdowns and 5 receiving touchdowns. His senior year, he had 303 rushing yards, 303. He had 3,301 rushing yards with 50 rushing touchdowns as a senior. And he had 3 seasons, sophomore, junior, and senior year, where he ran for over 2,400 yards and over 30 rushing touchdowns in 3 straight years. This dude is a monster.
Where is he from?
He's from Louisiana. Louisiana.
So they playing football down there.
They playing football down there.
From Alaska doing this. Oh my God.
He had a couple other big offers, one from Houston, one from Tulane, and it was in chats and discussions, they were listed with Texas A&M and LSU, but they never offered. So he was like, you know what? I'm going to come to Minnesota. They've had Mo Ibrahim. They've had Darius Taylor. And you know what? I'm going to come up there and do my thing. And you see those numbers, and I'm like, yeah, I hope you come up here and do your thing, because this dude is a beast down there in the South.
If I was thinking about it, as far as recruits go, I mean, Minnesota is really not a bad place to be a running back. Obviously, I mean, that goes without saying, but we run a playbook that is so running back friendly. Even if you don't want to stay here forever, if I'm getting an offer, I'm like, yeah, let me come here and get better and learn from these guys and learn this style of playbook. Because if you can play running back here, you can play running back anywhere. Like this is very competitive running back football in Big Ten.
Right, and I think last year was the first year we saw the essence of a passing game. Before that, it was all exactly. run. And I know that half of last year, Harbaugh, the offensive coordinator, is like, no, we got to get the running back game going again, because last year it was a struggle at times. Like, unless Darius Taylor was making something happen, or Marcus Major had a couple moments, but overall, like, statistically, it was one of our worst years rushing the ball. So I know Greg Harbaugh Jr. wants to get this running offense going again and still have the incorporation of the passing. So if he can even get that ticked back in the right direction, look, I'm trying to be here in Minnesota where I can maybe be a dual threat, where I know they run the ball, where I know it's Big Ten football. Like, I'm here for it. So
Dude, between Rodney Smith and Mo Ibrahim, if you looked at not even the yards, but just the amount of carries both those guys had, it's insane. Like we run the ball.
right. That was my only worry about the kid from Louisiana, just because I don't care what level of football you're playing. Like a
Oh,
lot of carries add up after a while. So the Louisiana kid, Xavier Ford, has 960 carries in high school. 960 carries.
to be fair, with all those touchdowns, it sounds like he wasn't getting tackled very often.
Yeah,
So
you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. The man was running through everybody. I wish they tracked missed tackles force because I guarantee you he got a whole lot
crazy.
of them.
What's his height and weight? What's his height and weight?
That's a
I'm,
great
I know
question.
he's
No,
six
I will
six
look
foot
that. I'll
two
look that
hundred.
up at. Yeah, you're right. What's our standard? You know,
Yeah, exactly.
but I'll look that up while I ask you this question. So, do you have any predictions for this Gophers running back group here in 2025?
My biggest prediction is just that Darius Taylor, I think he's going to have the best season of his career as a Gopher this year. I really think he is. Like, he stays healthy. Is he's set up for success. Other than that, my only thought is I think AJ Turner is going to be somebody. I think AJ Turner is going to be like we're going to be looking forward to having him in the room next year. So that was my biggest takeaway, just because there's a lot of unknowns still about this running back room.
All right, so two things I have to clear up. One, I'll clear up his height and weight because we need to know that. Two, we were absolutely disrespectful because I was already writing him in my head, but we didn't talk about him. Fame Ijiboy is also a running back in our room
Oh,
that I think is going to be an important running back in our room. So I feel bad that I was talking about the transfers, forgot to go
I
back to
have
the
him.
one other running back that is still
Fame,
back.
Fame, I didn't forget about you. I had you on the thing, but I thought you maybe had transferred because Kane wasn't saying.
He got scared over here.
I
He
was
got
like,
scared like, wait,
oh
wait,
man,
wait.
he must have transferred out.
He was like, "What news did I miss?" No, Fame Boy is definitely still here. I think if he's healthy, I think he can potentially push AJ Turner for the running back two job. That was what I was kind of hinting at or referencing when I said I think AJ Turner will get it, but I think someone can be there with him. I think Fame is the guy who can be there with him. The biggest thing is being healthy because he had an injury last spring and then he had an injury this spring. I don't think either one of them were serious, but like he was just missing springtime. But if you look at him from his true freshman year to now his red shirt freshman year, the dude's put on good, healthy weight. He's super athletic. He is super fast. I think that he could be maybe the third running back or work his way into the second running back this year, but I think he could be a 1-2 punch with AJ Turner next year and in 2026 if Darius Taylor goes pro. And I think he is extremely fast. He is extremely powerful. And so I'm really excited by him. So I wanted to make sure we brought him up because I'm going to talk about him in my predictions here. But when it goes to Xavier Ford, 5'10", 210 pounds. So
That's Mo
fits the
Ibrahim.
type.
That's
Fits
Mo.
the type. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
That's a
fits PJ's
little
type
a little
perfectly.
bowling ball.
All right, so my predictions, I got Darius Taylor breaks 1,000 yards and has over 400 receiving yards with 15 total touchdowns. So I'm with you. I think it's going to be his best year. I wouldn't be surprised if he has like 1,200 yards rushing. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
he's really going to have a great year this season. My second one was Fame Ijiboy works himself into potentially their RB2 role if healthy or RB3 role at worst. And then I said if AJ Turner shows the same efficiency as last year, then I think we could see him next up as the running back one in 2026. But if he struggles to make an impact, which we have seen from some transfers, we saw it a little
Hmm.
bit with CAA Bangura, who was touted last spring and then he never really saw the field. We saw it with Sean Tyler, who was touted spring and fall and then was fumbling and not taking care of the ball. So, like, we've seen that happen before. And if that happened to AJ Turner, which I hope it does not, I hope he comes here, he's just as efficient, he balls out. But if it didn't work out, I think that's where Fame Ijiboy can step in and be that RB2. So that's kind of my predictions and outlook for the season and how it all happens. But I have a hot take one. I have a hot take one.
Okay, okay. Give it to me.
If Darius Taylor's balling out and he looks like he's headed to the NFL, and so, a lot of our NFL guys recently have skipped the bowl game and gotten ready for it. They travel with, they were with the squad and everything like that, but they just didn't play. If that happens, I'm calling Fame Ijiboy bowl game MVP right here, right now in May of
Whoa.
2025. I'm putting it out there.
I mean, the only thing that I'm going to say about that is I hate to break your heart, but we're going to be 10-2 and we're going to be in the playoffs. We're not going to be worried about a bowl game.
I'm here with
So
it. That would not break my heart. That would not break my heart. I'm okay being wrong on that prediction.
only instance where you were allowed to be wrong on that day.
All right. Any sleepers or breakouts from this group at all?
Um, I just kept. I'm stuck on AJ Turner. I'm just so intrigued by that 8.3 yards a carry is so efficient. Like that's if you have a running back here that can average the ball, if you can guarantee 8 yards every single time he
You're
touches the
basically
ball,
getting a first down every time you touch the ball.
every single play, like it's nuts. So that's just I'm just super intrigued by that. Cam Davis from Washington too. Like it sounds like the injuries have been the only thing that has stunted his career. So not stunted, I don't want to say that, but has held him up. So if he's healthy, I would also be interested. Like that's a veteran presence on the team. Like he's played a lot of football and been in the locker room for a long time. So
He was a team captain with Washington. He was a
yeah,
team
exactly.
captain.
So
So
that'll be interesting to see even how a guy like that in the room affects these younger guys because I mean there is a decent amount of young running backs that are going to be in this room. So that'll be
yeah.
exciting to see.
No, I'm with you. I like that a lot. I said whoever can take hold of the RB2, I think they have the chance to break out. I would love to see Xavier Ford hit the field and show me that 8,000 yards rushing from high school. I'd love to get a little sample, a little taste. Like what we got from Zach Evans when he was here for that freshman
Yes.
year. Like just that one little like we're blowing Northwestern out, put him in the game. Oh, he has a huge pop off run for a touchdown. Everybody goes crazy. I'm here for that. Let's get Xavier
If
Ford
he
back.
goes crazy when he gets here right away, I'm playing him as a true freshman, and if he looks solid, I'm just gonna be like, dog, this could be yours. This could be yours. If I'm PJ, I'm like, just stay here. Keep playing. This is yours. As soon as Darius is gone, this will be all yours. This is your kingdom. Stay
See,
here.
no, I just give them one little taste. You get
A
one
taste.
game in a year, one little taste, one little sample, and then you're like, see what Darius is doing.
Yup.
This is why you need to stay next year because you could be the next one. That's what I'm doing. I'm not playing them a bunch. I'm not doing it. I'm like, yeah, this could be yours. Here's your little sample. Here's Northwestern State. Have some fun. They didn't
You
win
know,
no games in the FCS last year, so have some fun.
the kind of cope that it is that we are game planning on not only like, okay, we got the recruits, now how are we gonna keep them? We can recruit whoever we want, but what are we going to do if the worst thing we could do is be really, really good, or this guy could be really, really good because he's just going to go.
Hey, so Brevin Spann-Ford, he's in the NFL now.
Yep.
He's your long lost cousin on the Ford side of the family.
Yep.
So come check him out. You want some cowboy tickets? We'll get you out.
Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. We're working some NIL stuff.
You just gotta make sure you stay. We just gotta sign
Yep.
on the dotted line. 2-year contract.
Yep.
2-year contract.
That's it.
All right. Any players in the Big Ten outside of the Gophers that you're intrigued by or excited to see in 2025?
I had to go. I wrote down a couple. James Peoples for Ohio State. I don't know anything about him, but you have to assume he's going to be a dog. He's going to be playing behind about 9,000 pounds of man in front of him. So I mean, I just think he's probably going to be good. He's going to get the carries. And then Penn State has both Nick Singleton and Katron Allen.
Yep, just
And
crazy.
they're going to be very, very good. And they're going to be able to just play the Big Ten football that they want to, too. Like, they will ground and pound the whole game if they have to. So that's going to be a tough running back room to stop.
Dude, I think I read something that they have like over 90% of production returning this year. Penn State is going to be a monster this upcoming season.
So good. So good. And they're going to have some DN that's coming out of the woodwork that's just going to be an animal. Yeah.
Yep,
Give me number 11. Give him 11.
All right. So for years, I kept talking about my first year at Lockdown. I kept talking about Caleb Johnson. I was like, Caleb Johnson, dude is nice. Dude's going to be something. Freshman year, he showed little glimpses here and there, had like 1 or 2 big games. Sophomore year, had a down year. Third year, last year, Caleb Johnson, demon. Boy was different.
Beast.
I'm putting my stamp on the next one. Khalil Valentine, Illinois. This dude is going to be nasty. He played last year in little spurts, and I was like, dude, he moves so fluid. He's so fast. He's just shifty. Like, he's going to be him. He's with Brett Bielema, who always finds a way to get some nice running back production. Chase Brown's over there killing it with the Bengals now. Khalil Valentine. Remember that name. He might not be I think he's going to be the lead back this year. People are saying like two different guys that have injury histories, and I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. Like I'm telling you, by like game 4, it's going to be Khalil Valentine. He's going to whoop some butt, and he's going to maybe be on that Caleb Johnson track, not this year, but the year after. So I'm excited by him. You mentioned both the Penn State guys. Both those dudes are nasty. Jonah Coleman and Adam Muhammad is another name I really like. Running back 2 for Washington. His brother played at the school that I used to be on staff for a season or two, and his brother was super good D2 level, but this dude Adam Muhammad, he's different. He's different, and he was committed to Arizona. Their whole staff moved to Washington, and the Washington staff that moved from Arizona was like, yo, we're so happy nobody else like swooped in on this kid because this dude, like, he's nice. He's nice. So Adam Muhammad, I don't think he'll be a guy this year, but I think starting next year once Jonah Coleman leaves, remember the name. And then the last room I'm going to bring up is Michigan. I think they're going to have a nasty room this year. They've got Justice Haynes transferring in from Alabama. And then they've got Jordan Marshall, who was a top 50 guy in a freshman class last year, but just redshirt. So I think he's going to be in that room this year and has a lot of looks. So I think that those are the guys that excite me for this season.
Yeah, I was looking kind of a lot. There's a lot of it seems like a lot of running backs coming up to the Power 5 level, which is I think is super cool. Like another, we always talk about the pros and cons of the transfer portal, but I think that's a huge pro to it that, these guys are getting opportunities because, teams are looking like, hey, what is it? Did the running back for Oregon, they just got a transfer from Tulane, correct?
Mekhi Hughes, yep.
So I think that's exciting just for the state of college football. I like that.
No, I do too. I agree with you 1,000%. The only thing that slightly worries me is there's going to be dudes that translate and it makes sense, and I think Mekhi Hughes could be one of them. But there's also going to be dudes that they balled out of the G5, and now you're in the Big Ten seeing the Big Ten defenses every single week, and all of a sudden it's not the same. You know what I mean? I think we're going to see some awesome stories, and I think we're going to see some letdowns too throughout the years.
Oh, that's definitely going to be the case, but I think that's going to be the case no matter what. That's with any position. You look at Max Brosmer compared to who was we were just talking about, who came up with him, or who came up at the same time and it didn't transfer. I can't remember who it was, but it's going to be that way with all the recruits, or whoever gets brought up.
I mean, look at Wisconsin's quarterbacks. They've been hopeful for the past 2 years, and how's that one?
Yep. You can't get nobody. You can't get nobody.
No, they're getting everybody. Remember, these are all the saviors. This dude's coming from, he was with Lincoln Riley, and then he didn't get a chance, and he's going to ball here. Sucked. Then, this dude's coming up, Tyler Van Dyke from Miami. He's going, didn't look good, and then got hurt. Come on now. Who's the next one? I know Wisconsin got, Billy Edwards Jr. That's the next one. They're going to keep on the cycle, man. They got their next golden boy, Billy Edwards Jr. We saw how he played at the Huntington Bank Stadium. We saw. Man. The craziest thing is seeing Wisconsin Badger fans still chirping on Twitter. And I'm like, bro, do you realize where your program is right now? You make fun of Minnesota and you talk about the Gophers. You talk about little brother this, have you looked at your football team since you got this new coach? Because they've been ass.
I have said this before and I'll say it again. There's nothing I love more than the delusion of college football fans. And I know because I'm one of those delusional college football fans. I have the path to a national championship. So I love college football. It's the best. You can be as bad as you want and still talk shit. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Right. No, the best part is too, it's starting. They're starting to hit Purdue syndrome. They're starting to. They're starting to be Gophers this, Gophers that, blah blah blah. And then you bring up so who has the axe right now? Who's won the last 3 of the last 4? Oh, what's your head coach's record in the Big Ten? Oh, your head coach is the worst Ohio State single season record since the 1980s. You bring up those type of things, right? Which you probably didn't know that, but I'm just so I got facts. I got stuff loaded in the clip, ready to go. So you say all those stuff, and all of a sudden they'll be like, "Your basketball team sucks." I'm like, "Oh, we're going to basketball."
Every time I see somebody pop off on Twitter at you, I'm like, "Oh no, pray for this man. Pray for this man. You don't know. You don't got the numbers."
Somebody send this man some help.
So Kane got the numbers.
Dog. Luke
Oh,
Fickle. Everybody was trying to tell me this dude's the savior, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna temper expectations. He looks like a decent hire. He got Cincinnati to the playoffs, but they weren't
he was
playing.
going to be awesome.
They weren't playing Cincinnati. That's not the Cincinnati that was playing in the Power Five. So I
Mm-mm.
was like, slow your roll. They were like, oh, 10 wins first year. I was like, 10 wins? I was like, y'all ain't even gonna get 8 wins. Like, what are we doing here? They're like, oh yeah, we will. Yeah, we.
4, 5.
So then they're like, oh no, year 2, he's gonna get it. Year 2, your bowl streak, it's gone. It's gone. Like, I just Wisconsin fans, man, Wisconsin fans. I just can't do it. But that's enough about me griping on Wisconsin right now. Your coach went 6-7 as the head coach of Ohio State, Luke Fickle, the only under 500 record in Ohio State history since the 1980s.
Oh, that's tough. These are tough numbers.
It's tough.
It's tough stats. It's
It's
tough
tough.
stats.
It's tough. But anyways, let's jump into the top 10, my top 10 running backs for the Big Ten before we move on to Cal. So to clarify, this is how I think they will finish in the upcoming season, not how I think they are heading into the season. My first 5, Nick Singleton, number 1. I can't not put him up there. Dude's nasty. Dude runs like Nick Chubb, and he's on probably the best team, top 3 team in the country, so it's hard not to put him up there. Number 2, I've got our boy Darius Taylor. I think he is the dual threatness. I think it's just like his ability to catch the ball makes him a weapon. Knowing the Gophers want to shift more even back into the running game, and we know the talent's there, I think he's definitely a top 3 back. I've got him at 2. Number 3, I've got Katron Allen. Penn State has 2 top 3 running backs in the Big Ten Conference. Mekhi Hughes comes in at number 4 for me at Oregon, and Jonah Coleman comes in at number 5. Now, Jonah Coleman could have been higher. A lot of people probably do have him higher, but like I said, Adam Muhammad is a name to know, and I think he eats into some of the numbers that Jonah Coleman maybe saw last year. So those are my top 5. Anything that shocks you? Anything that am I on the Gophers bias with DT at number 2, or do you think he should be a little lower? How are you feeling?
No, I think you have the perfect amount of bias on that pick. I do think he is good. And I don't think there's a lot of people who would disagree. There's not a lot of college football people who would disagree that he's not on that path. A lot of it is tough because Nick Singleton is going to be surrounded by guys no matter what. Like he's got that in his bag. And Darius Taylor has to kind of, I don't want to say put in more work, but he's not going to have 4 or 5 5-star recruits blocking for him all the time. So I think Darius Taylor's going to have to work for it a little bit. But if you've watched him, you already know that he's capable of it. So that's why I think your bias is totally fine. Nobody can watch DT and be like, not a good running back. So yeah. I like that. And then Malachi Hughes, I am really excited for him. Like, that's who we talked about before. Like, going to Oregon, that program just seems like it's a plug and play running back spot where they can do whatever they want with that running back, and he's going to be just, Bucky Irving. So.
For sure. I think the only way Darius Taylor finishes outside of the top 3 is if our passing game absolutely goes like just awful. Yep. And then they just stack the boxes, and he doesn't get a chance to produce, which even if they stack the boxes, he usually has been finding ways in some of these games. I think the only one I really saw struggle was Iowa last year. But otherwise, like, he always finds a way to get some production, and that's usually when the pass game gets incorporated for him. So
I was going to say, he's in our pass game quite a bit too. Like, he's a big part of our pass game. So I think we agree. Like, I think he's 1,200 yards this year. Like, I think he's going to have a great season.
Yep. All right, so let's round out this top 10. Number 6, I put my boy Khalil Valentine. I'm speaking it into existence. Illinois running back. I think he's going to take the job and make it happen. Number 7, I gave the Badgers some credit. Dylan Jones is going to be their starter. I know some people have been putting out Darian Dupree. Some people have been putting out other names. It sounds like Dylan Jones is the dude, and he's the highest ranked running back of their room over the last couple of years too. So I think he's going to put it together, and they're going to get back to running the football like they did with Jonathan Taylor, Melvin Gordon, Braylon Allen, you name it. Like, Wisconsin's been able to run the ball in the past. I think Fickle knows if he doesn't get it back on track, he's out of there. So I think Dylan Jones is going to get a lot of touches this year. Roman Hemby is my number 8. He is at Indiana. It might sound familiar because he has been playing at Maryland over the past 3 years. Maryland, hit or miss school. Like they like to throw the ball a ton, but he had flashes, he had moments, and now he's got Kurt Signetti. Google me. I'm ready to make this happen. And last year they had a pretty decent run game, so I'm going to go ahead and give him talent wins out and get him in the top 10 at number 8. The number 9, I had to put a Michigan back in here. The only reason Michigan backs aren't higher is because I think they're going to use those two guys a lot. So I think Jordan Marshall and Justice Haynes are going to get a ton of work. And so they might eat into each other a little bit and finish more towards like 9 and 12 as opposed to one of them being top 5 in the conference. And then my number 10 is CJ Campbell at Rutgers. He's transferring in. We saw how they use Kyle Monangai. We know Ethan Kaliakmanis, and like you don't want to put everything on his shoulders and rely on the pass game. So they're going to be run heavy still, and CJ Campbell seems like a guy. So that's my top 10. My honorable mentions, I had Justice Haynes, who's the Michigan back that I said. I had him in that like 12 area. CJ Donaldson Jr. is an Ohio State running back that's transferring in from West Virginia that I think he's good. But again, you mentioned James Peoples. I also think he's very talented, and I think him and CJ Donaldson could eat into each other. And they're going to throw the ball a lot. Like they just like to throw the ball. I don't think they have a Travion Henderson or a Quinton Judkins in the wings right now, so they'll probably throw more. And my last honorable mention is Devin Mockabee. He haunts my dreams after that homecoming game 2 years ago where he just ran for like 200 yards on us and stole all of my hope. He had a horrible year last year, but I think with a new coach, he could be back in the conversation. So I've got him at honorable mention.
All right, yeah, I like it. Roman Hemby is a name. That's a good name. That's my dog's name. And I think he'll have a good year. Like you said, Kirk Signetti he's known to find dogs. He finds diamonds in the rough and molds them. So I think that'll be interesting to see what he can do there in Indiana.
Yeah. No, I feel you. All right, we're going to wrap this one up talking about the California Golden Bears real quick. So what were your initial thoughts? This will be the Gophers' third opponent on the season, first road game of the season for the Gophers, I believe. So how are you feeling about Cal Berkeley heading into the year?
I not worried. My only notes for last year, like I told you, is almost beat Miami. So that's the extent of what I know about Cal. The Gophers, we don't play too bad in California. The Gophers like the warm weather. Like we come get some wins in California.
Yes,
so
sir.
They were 2-6 in the ACC last year, 6-7 last year. Yep. Not worried.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, they played 4 ranked teams, lost all of them, but 2 of them were less than a field goal games, Miami and Pittsburgh. They played SMU and just got absolutely shellacked 38-6. And then they played UNLV, who the Purdue's new head coach is coming from, and they lost 24-13. So I think overall, like the Gophers are going to have a ton of tape on this team to figure it out, especially early on in the season, to kind of put them in the dirt. And then the real reason why I think that I'm really not worried with this team, I think they're going to be relying on a true freshman, like class of 2025 quarterback to be their starter, most likely, in Jaren Kiwe Sagapulutele. I can't say it right. I'm not going to.
Perfect. No, that was dead on.
All right, there it is. He initially committed to Oregon. Well, actually, he initially committed to Cal, then balked at him, went to Oregon, then balked at them after spring ball and went back to Cal. Like
what?
all of that when he should have been a senior in high school. That's what he was doing. So
that's awesome.
I mean, he is a name to know. He's a 4-star guy. But outside of him, like their best players left. Like their quarterback from last year, Fernando Mendoza, Kurt Signetti said, "Come on over, be our starter." So he left. He was a 4-star transfer portal product. Jaden Ott, best running back on their team last year. He's been their best running back for like the last 3-4 years. He was like peace out after spring ball, and he went to Oklahoma. Jack Endries, their tight end, he was a 4-star transfer portal product. He left Cal, went to Texas. Their best receiver last year, Nizia Hunter, said, "Nah, I'm done with Cal," transferred to Nebraska. Then you've got Javion Thomas, who was a running back. He transferred out and went down the street to UCLA. You've got Mikey Matthews, who was a receiver who transferred out, high 3-star guy, and he left to UCLA. They lost another wide receiver, Toby Merriweather, and he went over to Utah. Like they have been picked apart on offense. They lost an interior offensive lineman. Now they do have Devin Brown from Ohio State coming in, so maybe he could compete and be the quarterback. But dude, their best players all said, "See ya, I'm out, sayonara."
is tough, and we got them very early in the season where
We got them
they're
week
not going
3.
to have anything figured out yet. Like,
So
not
you're
even
telling
they're not
me,
going to have any semblance of figuring out.
right? You're telling me a 6-6 team from last year who won 2 conference games in a lower conference, who lost all of their best players, is going to make us flinch? I'm just not here for it. I'm not here
Yeah,
for it.
I think
If
that's
it was
we
if it
have a
was week 10, maybe I'm like, okay, they can get it together. Maybe they got some dudes that came up. Maybe that 5-star quarterback is decent. Maybe Devin Brown from Ohio State is decent. But we get them week 3.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. We have a great ramp up on our schedule. Like we really next level, next level, next level. So I think we got them at the right time. And even if they do figure stuff out, it won't be week 3.
Yeah. And I also think they had a few players drafted in this last draft, NFL draft too. So I mean, overall, you talk about all of those departures that I said, and they had 4 players drafted. So I think you
Dang.
talk about 4 players drafted, and all of those players were defensive players. So all the players I said transferred were on the offense. They lost 4 players on the defense to the NFL draft. Like, bro, good luck. I'm not too worried
Yep.
about Cal. Enjoy the weather. Hopefully it's sunny out there when we go and play them, but I think the Gophers are going to be just fine.
Oh yeah. No, I agree.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here at the Gopher Broke podcast. We're going to wrap it up with one final Chat GPT question. And we're going to go with. Ooh. Do you want a PJ question or do you want a random question?
Let's go with the random one. Let's go with the random.
All right. If the Gophers had an official snack, what would it be?
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. It would have to be like a nut of some kind, correct? Like
Probably. I mean,
it would probably be like peanuts or something, but that's kind of lame. Mm-mm.
gotta give them like the Nutter Butters or like the Nut Goody or something. Just something
Would
like,
it be? What about like a official Sweet Martha's cookie bag of Sweet Martha's cookies? That's a Minnesota thing. I
yep,
like
yep, we
that.
can go with that. I mean, I'm gonna give a quick plug, and I can't wait. It's gonna be one of my favorite times. Hopefully, if we get the credential again, we'll find out here in the near future. But they always do something in like July or August where they let you sample all the new stadium foods and things like that.
Oh,
And I really hope that the Burrito is back, the Pho burrito,
when you were
because
telling
it
us
was
about this,
fire
yeah,
last year, just straight fire. So if they're back next year, if that vendor's back, you absolutely need to try that out because they are wonderful. And hopefully, your boy, and hopefully we can get Tristyn one too, can get a credential, get this free food, try these new things out, and we'll see what happens. But that's
we'll
gonna
be
do it for us.
credentialed for 1 week because I'll be acting up in the press box. They'll be like, you the whole time be like, Tristyn, you gotta chill. You can't cheer. You can't cheer in here, dog.
Tristan, you can't cheer, bro. Just like do a little fist bump under the table. Can't nobody see that. They might be thinking it's something else, but just do a little fist bump under the table. You be good.
I got credentialed for 1 week. Said I had to go.
Oh shoot. Well, that's gonna do it for us. We'll talk wide receivers next week, and we hope you tap in. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get the podcast. Follow us on YouTube and share it with your friends because we're building up for the season. We'll be talking about the Rutgers Scarlet Knights as well next week. And we'll see you then. Roll the boat, Sky Go Gophers, as always. And don't forget to hit subscribe.